Konnichiwa, welcome to the Marshall Maze. I am with my partner in crime, Barak Yalad Shidoshi, who is back from sabbatical, back from assignment. Woo, hot diggity dog. We had Mahi Paul Leona last week. And yeah, brother, I'm like, it's good to see you. How you been?
Man, it's been good, man. It's been really good.
I'm like,
you've been gone, man. You've been on the road, traveling across the U.S. once again. I mean, this seems to be a natural route.
Oh, yeah, you listen, man. I mean, yeah, it's the pursuit. And like I was telling Haskins Sensei, that when I stop having fun is when I think I will hang up the shorts, I guess. But I look, I wish you could have been there and stuff like that. It would have been another great trip.
Yeah.
Well, we got Chicago coming up. Hopefully we can make that happen.
Yeah.
And be out there, and we'll be in Chicago and see what those folks is doing in Chicago, training with them.
Chi-Town.
Yeah,
Go to the Chi.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's a Modern Combatives episode, but well, speaking of which, our first episode drops in 2 weeks?
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I think the teaser drops this coming weekend.
Yeah,
the teaser will drop.
Yep,
and stuff like that. It's the week before the event.
We have an amazing lineup.
Yes, I'm like, we doing a thing, man. We doing a thing. Season 3. Who knew? Season 3. That's wow.
I mean, I'm like, it seems like it was just yesterday.
Yeah.
It seems like yesterday, when I first came in from the city, and came here and was like, hey, I'm here in Springfield.
Yeah.
And we linked up, and look at what has happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, my fits of rage on your porch, all the many fits of rage.
No, it was important. I mean, like, listen, every time we get up, we always have very interesting conversations about life in general. And because martial arts is our life, so it's always, going around doing revolutions around martial arts. But besides that, we're talking about everything under the sun. All right, because there's war fronts, there's many different types of war fronts out there. And so when you would come here, you would spit that, you would spit this, and we would be all over the place. So I am so, you know what? I am so appreciative of you, all right, for you to even bring this to my attention and be like, hey, since every time we get up, we are always building and going deep. Why don't we document? Why don't we record this?
Yeah, no, that's true. That's definitely true. Hey, by the way, on the side note, I'm really digging this comfy chair. I don't think we could ever film us live again because I'm already kicking back.
You actually fit.
Well, yeah, the one has it is designed for a normal sized human being, not the mini chairs. But yeah, I'm like, I got one arm lounged around the side. I'm like, all I need now is like the thing to prop up my feet. What's it called, an ottoman? I guess But
I don't know, a footstool.
Yeah, a footstool. I don't know what it's called. Like that. Maybe is it an ottoman? I don't know. But yeah, no. So we got a lot of big things happening. Some of the obviously. So we have Modern Combatives season 3. We have the Maze Awards coming up. That's November 12th.
Yes.
That's going to be. We're going to keep that in Massachusetts. I was worried originally that we may have to move it. Or just even considering moving it out of Massachusetts, but I think it's our second annual. It's and I I was talking to Haskins Sensei, and I'll be talking about him in about a second. But and he brought up something great. He says, "Listen, here's the thing." He says, "One of the biggest issues with folks in Massachusetts is we always leave Massachusetts. Like when we stop. We go over somewhere else and we do our thing somewhere else, and we never really bring it back to Massachusetts." He says, "Well, why don't you keep it in Massachusetts and bring everybody to Massachusetts? Bring it here." to Western Mass. So for those that don't know, because I know there's somebody somewhere going, oh, well, how close to Boston are you?
Yeah, Boston.
So we're based out of Springfield, Massachusetts, which I get it. I understand because we're so close to Connecticut. You can be a Yankees fan here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, and stuff like that.
We're
right?
at the border.
I mean, I was into the Hartford Whalers back then. I mean, that's the hockey team back then. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. Where somebody says, well, you're from Springfield. Is that really massive? Where's your accent? We're not talking about the car.
Right.
Car.
Right. Yeah,
We don't say car.
Nah.
We say car.
No, you're dead on about that. We have our foundation here, and we want to. There's a lot of folks that been involved in the martial arts out here. We have a lot of rich history out in this area in Western Massachusetts. And so it's very important. But what happens with, to reflect on what Haskins Sensei said, we always leave. And some of the time that happens is because we pretty much outgrow. Hey, my feet are too big for these shoes. All right, I need a new set of clothes.
Okay.
All right. And so we outgrow what is around us. And so I think it's important to do a 360 and always remember your roots.
Yeah,
where you're from.
Never forget where you came from.
Exactly. So I do agree 100%. Once you done grew wings to fly and you circumvent the earth and you come back, you do that full circle, you go back right where you started.
And that's, I believe that's the best way to do it. You make your pilgrimage out there, you see what else the world has to offer, and you bring it home. You bring your lessons, some of the best practices.
Yes.
Or you get to see all the things that were similar.
Yes.
So it depends on how you want to look at that. If you're a cup half empty or a cup half full, I don't know. I'm all over the place with the cup thing.
No, it's based on, it's a cup half empty, cup half full. It's based on where you're starting.
Yeah, but that's true.
Are you starting with a half cup? Or are you starting from the bottom?
Yeah. That and there it is. I mean, all that in a nutshell.
I was having an interesting conversation with a friend of mine's, and he was listening to me. He's like, "Wow, you sound like a bit of a philosopher." So he was being funny. He was like, "So tell me, what came first, the chicken or the egg?"
Oh boy.
And so I looked at him and I said, "It depends whether I want dinner or breakfast." And I left him with that.
Or breakfast for dinner. I like that, though. I like that.
And he just looked at me. He said, "See, you're a thinker. You're one of those."
I'm like, I would have just started laughing. That's silly, but it's good. It's a great thing of wisdom. I don't know. I'm like, shit. I might actually take that.
I'm being witty.
Yeah. Yes. I like that though. That's good wit. Wow.
So we have. I'm very excited for the Marshall Mays Awards.
Yes. But we also got a bunch of side projects, too. I mean, you're doing the Route to the Truth.
Yes.
Hopefully we have that better produced.
Yeah. Facts. I'm only working on what I got.
Oh, no, but I like it, though, and I love it. It's been getting such a great response. And, folks, if you haven't checked out the Route to the Truth, you can definitely get it on our Facebook. We're going to move it to YouTube.
Okay.
So you'll be able to get both,
Yeah.
And then we have the other projects. So I talked to Haskins Sensei. I got the idea for something else. You know me with Reels. I love Reels. I live on Reels. For those that can empathize or can kind of feel my struggle, I can just literally, I found myself the other day, like I was in the bed and I think I wasted a better part of an hour because that's time you never get back just watching Reels.
Right.
So I wasn't even watching TV.
Oh, my goodness. Just looking at
Reels.
Reels.
Yeah, but Reels, man, they're just hilarious.
Holy
Some of them are
smokes.
really informative. Other ones are just clowny. And I'm all over the spectrum with Reels. But so I saw this one Reel and I wouldn't say I got in my feelings. I just felt like, okay, I would say when I say we, I'm referring to us at the Marshall Mays, myself, Barak Yalad Shidoshi, and myself, and then, of course, the network of friends and people that we have here in Western Massachusetts. We, I guess, either seen some really, like I always say Springfield's not a violent place, but God damn it, when I'm thinking about the different kinds of violence that we've seen and experienced in our lives actually change our perspective, especially about combatives in the martial universe and the things that work and the things that don't. And I realized, I was watching this one particular reel, that this was coming from someone's perspective. That and given where they were coming from, and of course this last week's episode with I'm going to mess up his name again, Mahipal. He was talking about when not only studying the fighting but studying the culture. And did they do this because of this, or did they do that because of that? And they thought it was neat. And so thinking about the way we are approached to violence, and some of it, I'm like, well, wait a minute. There's never a one-on-one situation, or there's never this, or there's never that. And I realized that some of this stuff is coming from my perspective or your perspective of the way we've experienced violence, right? So with that being said, I'm watching the reel and I said, Haskins Sensei, he's a martial scientist. And I said, how about we do a thing where we have him discussing, like breaking down, kind of thing. And there are other folks that do that, that do the same kind of thing, different channels, different platforms. But I feel that our combined unique level of experience, just with the way we've seen violence, this, that, and the third. And Haskins Sensei, if you read his books and stuff like that, he has this very, and again, maybe it's been done before, but I still think we can do a thing. And so we got that coming up. I called him up, talked to him about it, said, hey, man, would you be on board to do this project? We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, that sounds...
we'll do a couple.
Yeah, that sounds
and we'll see
really
how
great.
it goes. And I said, well, we're cross-branding at that
Yeah.
point because he's UA.
Yeah.
The Underground Alliance Martial Science Research Association. We're the Marshall Mays.
Yeah. And
stuff like that. They said, it's just a cross-platform.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
I think that will be brilliant. I think that definitely will work. I'd like to, chime in on that. That's I've been teaching for the past couple of weeks tactical knife. And going over some of the basics, but the philosophies of it. Mm-hmm. And one of them that I bring up is that how to address knife when it comes to different cultures. And I've spoke about that very same thing, that it's not a one-size-fits-all kind of way, because if you're in the Caribbean or if you're in the Middle East or somewhere in Africa, how they use their blades are unique.
Yes.
It's different, all right, than how you would address someone here, all right? And then whether the person has training or no training whatsoever. So we definitely have to advance our game based on that, because we all can get cut. It doesn't matter. A novice can cut us, all right, period. But it's important to understand the culture of the people, because within that culture, there are certain attack tactics.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. And so if we don't know how we're being set up on that land, we can become very vulnerable.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, because I'm digging that, man, and it's shocking. And again, having the cup emptied almost all the time, it just allows me to just kind of take a step back and realize that, damn, I'm learning something new.
Yeah.
I've been doing this about a long time, and I'm wow. I just never really thought about that before.
Right.
Never really thought that's why I do it that way, or that's even with teaching the women self-protection, self-defense, or because we have the high holidays coming up, and even my approach to that kind of violence, and listening to someone else who is they were Secret Service, they did this, they did that, and just my mindset's different.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going to ignore what you're saying. I'm going to take that knowledge in, but please don't dismiss what I'm saying.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, you worked in an industry where you had a backup, you had people that were trained, you had this, you had that, and no, we don't have that here. And we don't have those resources here. And, we blow somebody away or shoot and miss and hit someone's car or something like that. Now, who's taking the liability?
Right.
Because when you were working for the government picked up the check.
Right.
Now you might have to pick up that check. So,
yeah.
Are we going to address that?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
You're dead. You're absolutely dead on. And so if we don't have this kind of spiderweb network of understanding, so we're going to all fall apart. Sort of like the government, when you have all these different agencies that are about anti-terrorism, all right? But now officially, they work together. All right. But at one time,
They weren't.
They
Yeah.
all wanted to get the big fish on their own. All right. And they realized this is not working.
Yeah.
We have to come together in order to understand the playing field. All right. So your experience here being in the urban environment, that's one form of knowledge. All right. Now we have someone who does professional bodyguard work. All right. There's another type of knowledge there. All right. They all complement each other because we're dealing with acts of violence.
Right.
All right. And we're protecting someone. But it's about that eye and how well you can determine. So for instance, right? If you are in the Middle East, let's just say Afghanistan, right, and you have someone that is an interpreter or what they say is a translator. I prefer interpreter, all right? I look at the difference. You either telling me what he's saying, but do you really read what he's saying? Okay? And that's a special skill for self-protection, how well you can read somebody, to know what they're saying, what is the true intent under their words.
Yes.
Okay? And so you can have someone who is an interpreter there, and therefore you're assigned with a sergeant and you're out there in the field. Okay? And so you bump into some rebels or just village folk, not even rebels, just village folk. And you don't know if they're working side by side with the rebels. But the interpreter asks a few questions and because he knows the culture, he also knows body language, and he can read the signs in your eyes. He can see all of those different things. Now, if you're a translator, it's one thing. I'm just telling you what he's saying. And then there's the other where you can actually interpret what's going on.
I talked about that a little bit last week. And for those that are here in the background knowledge, the background noise is coming from we're outside, and people are just coming about us, so it's a thing. But yeah, so anyway, I brought this up last week where I talked about like even being able to pick up the smell, different pheromone.
Yeah.
And it sounded a little crazy, and I know somebody out there they smelling people but you know what? Like an animal, like you get tied into some of our more primal instincts, and they're very much still there.
Yes.
Just as a martial artist, I think we become more hyper aware that they're there, like that, and yeah, giving off a different pheromone, a different scent, the body language, all of that. But for me, it's always been the way. In the only real way I can explain it without sounding completely crazy. There's plenty of science to back up what I'm saying, but just to the layman, I'm like, look at it as when you get that eerie feeling that something's just dangerous. Like you go, do I really want to walk down that dark alley? Just don't seem right.
Right.
And it's your body has
it's
natural
second gut.
Yeah, it's that. Yes,
second gut.
And it's believe it or not, it's not just what you see; it's what you hear and what you smell, even the taste that you're picking up. You're picking all that stuff up. Or when you can tell when somebody just has bad intentions.
Yes.
And you're just kind of, why did I come to this party again? I wonder if I just slip out the no, see, the other dude is already making his way to the other side to make sure I can't slip. Looks like I'm fighting. I'm like, I hated those days.
But no, you're 100. My sensei, and I share, I have my students practice this as well. We have our 5 senses. Now, our 5 senses are designed to experience this reality. But they are limited. All right. So do we really understand the reality for truly what it is because of its limitations? All right. So to work that, just like any skill set, you have to practice. And so what my sensei would give me, he would give me these exercises every morning. He would say, when you wake up, don't just get up out of bed. Stay in bed for 5 minutes. And for 1 week, you're going to pick a sense to work on. All right. So if we're going to focus on hearing, all right, when you wake up, the first thing you're going to do for 5 minutes before you get up is close your eyes and listen. Listen to everything. The cars riding. Listen to the motor, how it sounds. Can you even determine what car is that? Oh, that's a Ford F-50? Or whatever, and so you tune your hearing in, and it gets so fine-tuned to the point that you can hear a roach or a beetle crawling on the wall. All right? So we open up those senses. Same thing with smelling or tasting, for instance. Your taste is very important because it comes with your sense
of smell,
your sense of smell. And so for my students, I tell them, like, and this is something most people do not do, it's hard for most people to do, is when you're eating your food, all right, or eat other people's food, all right, when you chew.
Well, I gotta understand why it's hard to do.
All right,
Eating
no. When you chew, don't swallow. All right, for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Chew
Ain't that
for
the proper
30
way you're
seconds
supposed to chew?
and taste everything. All right, and really think about what you're tasting, to the point that you can even take a paper out and write down the ingredients and slide it to them. This is what you put into it.
That's what I thought. Ain't that what professional food tasters do? And
Right,
all that other good stuff?
right,
They can
right.
taste everything.
This
that's
is
in
all
it.
martial arts,
yeah.
all right? Because you need to, one of the training, there's a particular skill set when traveling on the road to know if this road has been trodden on, all right? So what the shinobi would do is they would taste the dirt, all right? And they would put the dirt on their tongue, and if they got the salts, there was sweat here.
Okay,
Means
yeah.
people
were
were walking on this road.
They were walking on
All
the road.
right.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah.
So you want to enhance your senses on the next level. So those were little exercises, and it's much more detailed than that, with the hearing, with the seeing, all that, and then tying it in. Once you get a good grasp of that, then we go to ESP. That's your extrasensory perception. So now we go beyond that. So now you're hearing, you're like, oh, okay, I can hear the spirits or the energy that is in this house. All right, and you start to feel things. This is when you get the spidey sense. You already got the spidey sense to begin with, and it's called feeling the presence. And I have these exercises that I do with my students on how to feel the presence. And so you don't need to see, but you can feel what's going on.
Well, yeah, I mean, that was the whole thing with training with your eyes closed. I also want to thank, speaking of which, Melvin Williams. He trains from the Hungar Fu Hawk system under Master Sifu Winshow Wu. I was with him, and we're finishing filming that particular episode, and when I got together, and we started doing a little the chisao.
Okay,
like
yes,
that,
yes.
push
Sticky
hands and all that. Yeah, and at one point, of course, it's just him and I, we've known each other a long time. So we just started getting really goofy with it and got it on film. And we had our eyes closed the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Just to kind of, because at first we're both big, strong guys. So,
right.
Of course, that's taking place. Like, we're like, I'm going to redirect. And then the next thing, your strength is coming into it.
Right.
The equation and stuff. And we've both done a lot of Qigong work and stuff like that, too. So we're just it's been a long time since I got to play that way, and I was very thankful that he allowed me to just get really goofy the whole time, And, well, my personality, right?
Yes.
So it allowed me just to be a complete goofball, and we just kept the film going. And I was watching some of it while editing, and I was just very grateful. But just that, like, even when we weren't touching, but our eyes were closed, we weren't cheating at all. Like, the eyes were completely closed, and I could feel his energy as he started to come forward, and then I knew where to be, and like that. And then boom, we just reconnected, and we just kind of kept playing that way. And they'd never really been in his backyard before, so it's not like, well, you kind of knew where you were in the backyard, and stuff like that. We got it on film, man. It looks great. Like, and of course, it looks comical too, because I was being a goofball the whole time and stuff like that. Like, it's really hard to take me serious when I'm just having fun.
Yeah.
And he was throwing down nuggets of truth, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that, especially with that kind of training, how to address actions as they come and stuff like that. He's like, listen, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I just kind of do it.
Right.
And then, so of course we're trying to film, and the hilarious part with it was, you already know where this is going. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do, and he was like, all right. And he addressed it different every time. And And I said, I need you to do the same thing.
Yeah.
Do the same thing again. He says, I can't.
No, you can't.
He said, you're giving off a different set of energy.
Right. It's a different moment.
Yeah, he says, look, man, this time it was this way, this time it was that way. And I'm like, no, man, I'm just doing the same thing. And he's like, brother, I hear what you're saying, but this is what I feel.
Right.
And I was like,
yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
But, yeah, so we want to thank that brother, man. I'm like, it was
big thanks
great.
to you.
Yes, sir.
The Marshall Maze presents the Modern Combative series on YouTube. The Marshall Maze takes an in-depth documentary-style approach to not only the martial arts techniques found in the systems, but the practitioners of those very systems as well. With over a combined 50-plus years of martial arts experience, Barak Yalad Shidoshi and Israel Lopez Sensei endeavor to explore it all as they travel the United States, exploring modern combative systems. New Season 3 episodes coming to YouTube 2023. So be sure not to miss the Marshall Maze Presents Modern Combative series on YouTube.
But yeah, no, it's always been a part of our abilities as human beings. It's just something we let fall dormant. And we don't utilize it, not even in martial arts anymore. All right. A lot of the schools, no one's teaching none of this stuff. Only a few schools out here are really harnessing that kind of energy and really teaching a complete circle of how that works. Because you got to understand, right? Nature already has it in play. We already have it. Like I said, it's dormant. But the typical animals that you see out here, all right, are very in tune. All right, with sensing if earthquakes are about to take place or if certain storms are about to come. All right, they're already there because it's key for their survival. All right, so they need it because we're on the top. There is nothing hunting us. All right, so we let it fall dormant.
Okay, yeah. Well, remember I told you those guys I used to go hunting with? They could do that.
Right.
And I always thought it was the neatest thing,
yes.
even with the tracking and all that stuff. Then they weren't walking around putting deer piss on them and all that other good stuff. But even when they take they had like rituals and stuff. They'd bathe, and the way they bathed was different.
Right.
And stuff like that. You couldn't have anything leave a smell or any of that kind
right.
of stuff. So I'm like, well, aren't you still giving off that normal pheromone? But but you're in the woods.
Right.
And stuff like that, and there's ways to kind of deaden
mask
that
it
to a degree. Yeah, where and it's like, and even with I understand now when somebody says downwind.
Yeah.
Like I was like, oh,
yeah.
I can smell
yeah,
it.
Yeah, you can smell it. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
it's interesting, even when tracking and knowing just knowing how animals travel, you're able to determine. So therefore, you can look at a track and be like, no, that's rabbit, because you know the path of a rabbit and you know how they gallop and you read it very well versus a raccoon. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, and so these are important skills. A lot of us who live the way of life have this, all right? And a lot of us out here in urban environments lost it.
Well, yeah, because we have a different set of skills based on our environment,
right,
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, but even then, you're right. I mean, I feel like there are other martial artists that say the very same thing. I've been saying it for years. A well-trained martial artist is literally, as close to a superhero as you can ever be. Haskins says, I say it. That there's so many people who've said that. Well, I've narrated. We were super, like, we can do things that people typically can't do.
Right.
Period. Even like
the most simplest.
Well, yeah, I was about to say, like, even look, you get an MMA guy, right? And I'm using that because it's a better example than a martial artist who's been training for 30, 40 years and all that other good stuff. I like to use it because an MMA guy, he gets this in this little bit of time, right? You get 6 months to a year, and a decent, well-trained MMA guy can do a lot more.
Yeah.
Than the average guy.
Yeah.
Can fight 2 or 3 of the average guy
right.
and have a decent, you know what I'm saying? Not be there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Or where before, well, you got jumped and, he curled up into it. Oh, no, decent, well-trained guy. He leg kicked that, shut that guy's leg and hit the other dude and kept moving the whole time. I'm not saying that by no way, shape, or form am I saying that the MMA guy is as good as the guy who's been training 30, 40 years. No, what I'm saying is even at that level, at that base level of the physical skills that one achieves in the martial, don't matter what martial system, you know what I'm saying? You gives you more than what the average person has.
Yeah, absolutely. And just reflecting on that, I'm not going to front. I actually was, who was I? I think I was talking to one of my students at the time when I was explaining this, and talking about MMA and what they do in BJJ, and I was like, actually, the times have changed right now, because she was watching a video and she was looking at someone put up their black belt promotion, put up the video. And she was like, Sensei would never let me get away with that. Like, how you kicking and wobbling and doing this, that, and the third? And, of course, she was awarded her black belt, but she was like, wow, times have changed. And it's not like the time you came up where everything was strict. And so I explained to her, and I was like, listen, yes, times have changed. But we also need to understand, and I want all the term that we're using, the new gods.
Yes,
to understand, all right, that the way you're training now was the same way we were training then.
Yes.
All right, everyone fought. Everyone paid their dues. There was always blood, sweat, and tears. So it was always about getting on the mat and putting in the work.
I will tell you this. What fell off, or what the problem really is the
business.
The business model. The business model is what ruined what we call the old school karate, old school Okinawa, old school whatever. The business ruined it. Why? Because just that. You're watching. Hopefully she wasn't watching the same thing I was watching. And I'm watching the black belt promotion. Now, understand, as a sensei, as a teacher, that person might have walked in my door and couldn't walk and chew bubble gum, didn't have it. And now at this level, they come so far, so that black belt promotion is really for them. It's their journey. We fit the art to the student, not the student to the art, right? Yeah. So that could be it, right? But if she was watching the same thing I was watching, it was everybody in that damn class. And again, I never call out of school. I'm not doing that.
Everyone.
But it was everyone taking that black belt because they have them all lined up. And I'm watching them do what I can only think was Pinan Godan or Hinan Godan.
It was horrible.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
Lord, I
didn't see this.
and I'm watching, and they're going through all that, and so of course, and this is like little snippets because it keeps cutting. It's a reel, so it keeps cutting, boom, to the next thing, and to the next thing, and this was just. But the person put it on there and was very proud, and I was looking at the comments, right?
Yeah, a lot of supportive comments.
Well, there really were. There were a lot of supportive people going, "Wow, you've come a long way."
Yeah.
Oh, so amazing. You got your black belt, blah, 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 blah. And, of course, you had some of the people going, are you kidding me? Is this seriously a martial arts school? What's happening here?
Right.
But that in itself is the very big difference. So you go to the classic MMA school or a BJJ school, even the people who really are just there for the social atmosphere can get on them, and because you can't get past it.
You can't.
You
have no choice.
You have to get on here. We have to roll.
Yeah.
You
could be the bottom of the barrel.
You are the bottom of the barrel, but you're somebody else's top of the barrel.
Yeah, you damn right. You know what? You come here. I won't even know. You'll take him. If you can take him.
Well, no, and that's literally what ends up happening. Even that you see the guy holding up the wall the whole time, and you're looking at him going, "Well, this guy, this is a little roly-poly dude." And then, of course, you walk over, "Hey, how you doing?" And you tap hands, and you get on. And the next thing you know, he's flipping you, turning you around.
You're in a pretzel.
Oh yeah, and he's just doing it. And he's just doing it at will. And and he's kind of talking to you about it, saying, "Okay, so here's what happened. I'm about to sweep you." But it's going to be nice, though. Just need you to relax and just let it happen. And you're like, really?
And he's our novice.
Or he's only been in class a couple of weeks. He's that guy.
What?
But that does happen. And it's really because, again, fighting, the only way to train to fight is to fight.
Right.
The only way to train to do anything is to actually be doing it.
Right.
I get it where the drilling, it's the way you drill. That most times folks don't realize there's effective drilling, and then there's just going through the motions so that you get the body mechanic. Like there are times where I'm just doing something to get that mechanic down.
Right.
Get that mechanic down. And then once I have the mechanic, now I apply what was supposed to be happening.
Right.
Or conditioning. There are some folk out there who, and I will tell you 5 million ways a Sunday, I am 1,000% into conditioning. You should be conditioned to do something.
Yes.
It's not for everybody. It wasn't designed to be for everybody. And people get mad at me when I say that and say, well, you sound like an elitist. And it's not that I sound like an elitist. It's just the truth. There's a reason why you go through basic training in the military.
Yeah.
Because they know what you're going to need to be able to do later on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They don't just give you everything that first day. Here you go. All right, go. Hey, the only way to train for combat is to be in combat. Go, throw you out there. You get shot up, you'll be dead.
Right.
So you get a level of training that gets you to the next level so that you can survive. So I'm all about conditioning. I'm all about like what we call functional drills and all that other good stuff. But, excuse me, because I'm losing my point.
But no, we're sticking with drills. Rinshu.
Yeah. So with that being said, I can certainly see why. Again, the new gods, MMA and the BJJ and the Muay Thai, because think of one major thing all those things have in common, including judo. I throw judo in there, but judo's an old thing. Old being made new. It might as well be called Tel Aviv. But it's each one of those arts require.
It's highly competitive.
You have to fight.
You have
to fight. That's part of the class.
Yeah.
You can't not be in a judo school and not start ronduriing at some point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like even myself, we have a student who always makes sure that every class, no matter how much I want to teach and make sure a lesson's getting through, there's an alarm that goes off so that the last 15 minutes of class, no matter what, we try to ronduri. Unless everybody was just doing lousy that day and I'm like, yo, come on, we really need to work that mechanic. But let's use that mechanic to ronduri.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's more scripted ronduri, but it's still ronduri. But you're still going live.
Right.
And wrestling does it, MMA does it, BJJ does it. You're still going live.
Right.
What I don't see in the more traditional karate styles, or what we call karate, is they don't go live. They typically have a class. You do this, that, and the third, and it is scripted kumite and stuff like that. Which is my and stuff like just doing drills. And you're never really going live. And they said, well, because this isn't designed to go live. But on the very flip side of that, they're utilizing the sport version of the Okinawa Te, of the karate.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're using the sport side of it. So I'm going, well, you should be going live then.
Right.
That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. There's somebody out there going, brother, what you talking about?
Well, there's some schools that do. All right. And so I know I make a distinction in my school between randori and jitsun. Mm-hmm. All right. So randori in my school is sparring. All right. And so you got rinshu, and those are the drills, or you can have kumite, rinshu. Those are controlled drills where you're just learning how to apply the technique. And then randori, that's the sparring, open sparring. You can have controlled randori, and then you can have open randori. And then from there, taking it a step up, which some schools don't do, is jinsen. And that's fighting itself, and so it's not randori. There is a difference.
Well, no, but that in itself, that is something I say, okay, can be problematic. Like as much as I'd love to be getting out there banging it up, but again, it's the reason why jitsu changed.
Yeah, it's very problematic.
Well, that's just why do you think we ended up with judo? Because like from the jitsu systems, the people are getting broken. Now you're out for 6 months. Well, it's even with randori. I always have to tell people that listen, especially my students all the time, especially the adults. There's a huge difference between shiai and randori. And I said there's certain things that you'll see the higher level belts do, and you mistake it for shiai, but it's not. I said, no, I'm just blocking when he comes in. You know what I'm saying? It's kaishiwaza. I'm doing other things and stuff. So it's not just, grip play because I said, if the guy's got you dead to rights, just take the fall. Mm-hmm. Let it happen.
Yeah.
And depends on what you want to work on. If I want to work on not landing on my back, then when he's coming in, I'm going to start to try to flip my body over, do the cartwheel, round off.
Do that in randori.
Yeah, and do that in randori. Shiai, the get hurt factor, one goes way through the roof. But the problem I have is, or was having, is students mistaking Randuri for Shiai. And which is that's two separate animals.
Yep.
So listen, in Shiai, I don't care about knocking out the guy when I'm throwing him. I don't. It's Shiai. It's his responsibility to save himself. My responsibility is to try to make a pothole out of his body. That's the reality to Shiai, right? Even if I'm a nice person afterwards, that's the reality.
Yeah, right.
Randuri, why the hell would I want to destroy the guy in my dojo? That's the silliest thing in the world. I just lost my partner.
Right.
I lost this person who's supposed to help me get better. I'm supposed to help them get better, and they're supposed to help me get better. Mm-hmm. Why the heck would I do that to my partner? Mm-hmm. I'm a horrible human being if I'm trying to do that kind of stuff, right?
You're an ass.
Yeah, it don't make any sense. So, oh, my God, I'm going to smack myself and put myself in a corner, right? It's crazy. Now, again, going back to if that was the mindset of the traditional karate systems and stuff like that, there wouldn't be a problem. Like, I really feel like the issues that we're hearing about the traditional karate and it's like that real. They're all starting to look like that. You know, the majority. I'm like, and not the now. It's gotten to the point now. There's a minority of really good schools.
Right.
And even like so even with all of that, and when you're going through and doing what we're doing, even think about what we do.
Yeah.
So we're going with the vetting process.
Yeah.
You know how many and folks out there, you don't realize how many folks that we've actually looked at. We've hit up this, that, and the third, and there was either lineage issues. And then when there wasn't lineage issues, certain people fall off.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying and stuff. And we, again, want to show a lot of these folks in their best light.
Yes.
You know, especially as I get better with the editing and the filming and all that other good stuff, is that we want to show whoever we do episodes with, we want to show them in the best light. Never something that's going to make them look bad.
Right.
You know, so case in point, one of the biggest challenges with Master Wu, because for those that don't know, he is getting the Lifetime Achievement Award. I have a lot of old stuff from when he was younger and stuff like that. And then we needed to have stuff now. And one of the big issues was the first thing someone said was, go ahead.
Hold on. Do you know a little of Wu's history for our listeners out there to know who is Wu?
Oh,
know who
listen,
Wu is.
So Wu,
they need to know the lineage of where he comes from.
I would ruin that 5 million ways of Sunday.
Come on, he comes from Wong Fei Hong. He comes from that line.
Yeah, I'm about to say there was Tango Wa. But here's my problem is if I get any of this wrong, it'd be like running backwards through a cornfield.
I know he comes from the Wong Fei Hong line.
Yes. And it's Hungar Fu Hawk, which is the Tiger Crane system. I knew of him as an amazing fighter. Actually, he's part of my origin story. If you listen, that was the Kung Fu school. And I like that from back in the day. And that's how I ended up with Kenny and stuff. And he was he was a phenomenal fighter. He was a fighter first. He learned how to fight first and then learned the martial arts second. Like, if that makes any sense to anyone else out there. So he was that guy. You didn't pick a fight with him.
Yeah.
You said the wrong thing. You might not go home.
I know people may not like this for a second, but sort of like Bruce Lee. All right, because Bruce Lee fought a lot. He was a knucklehead fighting before the art.
Yeah, so I, again, for students of Master Wu, I'm not paying any disrespect. What I'm saying is a man's past is his past.
Right.
We're not judging his past. What we're saying is this is how everybody knew him back then. And, of course, he owned the China Chef and stuff like that. And then there's the thing about the egg rolls, but not the egg rolls, but the chicken fingers. And that of course, will, but he also trained some of, here in this part of Massachusetts, he was a Big Kev, and Big Kev was a Coach Kev. He taught at Winnick and stuff like that. He was an amazing man, and the world is emptier without him and stuff. But he was one of Winchell's guys. Oh, see, and I know Master Wu as Winch. That's another thing, Sifu Wu, and stuff like that. But I know him by his his actual name. So, but it even helped us out. Him and my instructor Barak Yalad Sensei, they really good friends and stuff like that. I mean, actually, I would say that he put up with a lot of Ken's shit. So Ken will forever be in his debt, and I'm forever in his debt because I'm Ken's student. And that's some private family history on that one. But yeah, no, I'm really happy to been privileged to be able to film. And I have so much old stuff from back in the day, and then I also have some stuff that was just us at his house, just him, myself, and Ken, and where we were going over stuff. And I think what we put together will be a nice tribute, to him, the art, and as it moves forward. Because at this point, he's still active. He's just active really in the 5-element Tai Chi, which is, believe it or not, it's the Hung Gar. So it's his thing over the years, the development, and it ended up evolving into this Tai Chi and stuff like that. So for those that want to say that the Tai Chi doesn't work, I will tell you the 5-element Tai Chi works 5 million ways to Sunday. And if you want a live demonstration,
punch here.
Yeah, punch here. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things. And throwing another shout out to Haskins on that one. I absolutely love that shirt. Punch here for a live demonstration. It's the greatest shirts ever.
Yeah.
Konnichiwa. I'm Israel Lopez Sensei of the Martial Maze. Right now, you might be asking yourself, what is the Martial Maze? Well, I'm here to tell you. The Martial Maze is a martial arts podcast that deals with the complexities and pitfalls that one encounters when navigating the field of study that is martial arts. These discussions are from the points of view of actual martial artists, and we cover it all, with the occasional special guest, who of course are masters in their fields of study. From the president of the United States Judo Association to karate and kung fu royalty. Myself and Barak Yalad Shidoshi have over 40 plus years of martial experience. So please join us as we make our way through the Martial Maze. New episodes drop weekly, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast.
But yeah, man. I mean, but we really want to document the lineage and stuff like that, and it's such a great journey. But again, even it had its when he was a little more controversially, he had the same thing almost start to happen where his art began to look watered down based upon folk not really practicing properly, getting it together properly, doing the actual work. And, of course, they're walking around with the shirt on and after they no longer train and they're still trying to represent and they don't have it.
Right.
And there's so much.
They're Americans.
That's
one of those things.
That's another thing.
They're not us.
They're
not Asian. They don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So, they're paying. They're good students. We let them, let them slide on by.
We've had a conversation about that where we've talked about when are you a student or a paying customer? Mm-hmm. And I think it's like, again, it goes back to the American way of looking at things. Kevin, Karen, whatever you want to call that. I'm like, BK, have it my way. And if you're charging me a fee for classes and I pay, that's my knowledge. I have it. Remember, because we always go back and forth with it, right?
Right.
And stuff like that, where I said, and that's, I think his school started falling at some point, falling victim to that kind of mental mindset, because they did have a lot of changeovers. They were really big, then they got really small, and then really big and really small. That's why I said it was such a good way to document the journey, because it really was. He went from, he had a hole in a wall. I told you, it was hidden and stuff like that. And then he had a school that was where you can find it. There was the name, the big old sign, it's here and stuff. Even the place in Holyoke, a big old sign, it's here and stuff like that. And then it went back to a hole in the wall. And then it went back to, and stuff. And a lot of it had more to do with every time he made the attempt at going a little more commercial, he had that happen. He had a couple of folk, they're not going to be named, I wasn't there for the politics, so I'm not going to pick a side. What I am going to say about any of that is there were a couple of folk that were there, they trained, they took what they wanted from the art, and then they were, I would tell you, disrespectful, and not grateful, because they were given things that the average person never gets to learn and stuff like that, and they did, and again, being cursed with seeing both sides of an argument, if you will, I can definitely see, again, going back to the American have it my way kind of thing. Well, I paid for this knowledge. I paid for this. And this was, but I also feel like one or two of these individuals was given knowledge that only somebody who may be leading the school would get and stuff like that. And then, of course, there were some folk that grew and outgrew, you know what I'm saying, and stuff like that. But when I reached out to folk telling them what we were trying to do, unlike he who must not be named in Western Mass, all his former people were ready to jump right away, instantly, and said, "Master, what? You're doing what? Oh, yes, I certainly, yes, I have a lot to say." And everyone came together, and they really says, I ended up with more footage than we need. And stuff like that. Yeah, so I have to, unfortunately, we're going to end up cutting out. I ended up with.
There's bonus footage.
Yeah, well, because I was about to say, I ended up with, in the end, I have well over an hour worth of just footage.
Oh, that's
and
great.
Stuff like that, yeah. And so I got to cut it all back to like 35 minutes because our analytics say most people only watch a half hour.
Right.
More like 15 minutes of the episode.
Yeah, not even.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this.
I watch, if I don't feel to watch, it's only a few seconds.
Oh God!
It's a few seconds.
This
and
is
if it
Barak
doesn't,
Yalad Shidoshi.
yeah. If you don't captivate me in those few seconds, I'll get back to you.
Yeah, oh, man.
Move on.
So I think I guess when I'm doing these now, I got to have somebody at the beginning get thrown in the air. Bam! Ooh, how did that happen? And then watch the rest of the episode. Oh, hey, I might actually do that.
No,
yeah.
you have to do
reel
that.
them in, I guess. Yeah, I'm like, we might have to change
attention.
that feeling. Yeah. Ooh. I'll try that with Sifu Long's episode. Kathy Long. Yeah, we did that episode. I think I'll show the part where she's throwing me.
Yeah.
And then kind of how did that happen and then work that in.
Yeah,
That's possible,
No, we
can
do
play
it.
with it.
Yeah.
Then, but like kind of do a lot of that, even with the Sambo. How did I end up with this?
Yeah. You're like, wow.
And you're like, oh, well, maybe I need to watch the Sambo episode.
Yo, that Sambo episode.
Oh,
yo,
God.
That big brother was carrying you, bro.
Yo, man, I was
like, oh, shit. Pardon my language. I was like, yo, you're not lightweight.
I'm like.
How did it feel to be off your feet? I know you've been off your feet a couple of times.
Listen, it felt great. I was like, okay, you can just carry me around, man. I'm like, and he really did, too. I got on the scale. I said, oh, he was moving 260 easy. He was like, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, no, those front lifts.
My God.
Single leg lifts.
Yeah,
that is hard. The fireman care you can get. You can work the fireman.
That's a leverage thing. That's for that Tay Garoma, man. I'm like, yep. I was like, oh, he like literally bam, and I was like, you good? He was like, I got you.
I was like, look at this. That's a strong guy.
Carried like a baby.
Yeah. I was like, is he Russian? You know what I'm saying?
Oh no, yeah, no, because he is. He's Russian,
yeah. Okay. He is a bear then.
Oh yeah, no. Listen, I forgot to have him. I forgot to have him go back and forth because when he code switches, it scares the hell out of me. I remember the first time he did it, I was like,
because he sound chill.
Well, Andre,
I didn't even hear an accent.
Well, Andre has the accent, so like you're like, okay, he's Russian. All right, there we go. And then like all of a sudden, like boom, and watch him go from the completely English sounding. There was another lady who has her child training there. She blonde hair, blue eyed, and I'm thinking American, whatever, and bam, and they all just start talking in Russian, and everything just changes.
Yeah,
and it's so unnerving when that happens. Like it's cool as shit, but it's one of them weird moments where you're like, what just happened?
Yeah,
what just happened here?
When I hear Russian, I hear something strong like German.
Well, yeah,
I hear that.
Yeah, I know. It's one of them languages where it sounds, even if
classical Japanese.
But even if you're trying to be romantic or just chill, it still sounds like you'd want to pick a fight with somebody. I'm like, it's one of those languages. Like German, the same thing. And you're like, Yo, well, I just asked you if you wanted to come to the store. Really? Really? Is that what you were asking me?
That's a little strong there.
Yeah, just, even asking for bitter, beer. You know, you're like, oh man.
It's like classical Japanese. You know, when you heard the samurais in the movies.
Yes.
In the movies, and they just spoke really strong.
But I was always told that was more because you had to put emotion. It wasn't just the words; it's emotion. Like when you apologize in Japanese, it's a performance, along with being, you know, you had to perform. You were being remorse-like, and it was just insane. Like, I'm so sorry, and you're like, you know, and
all the gestures are there.
And if you get it wrong, you might get your head cut off. You might end up dead. So I mean, but then, you know, but I'm thinking of when my mom was going to lay into me. And those performances were legendary too. No, Mother, please. Please.
You see what I'm saying? It works. Does America Got Talent or does Japan Got Talent?
Yeah, yes. Because, oh, the Maldine Williams ass whoopings were legendary.
Yeah, hey, man, hey. You do whatever you got to do. I'll kiss your toes. What do you want me to do?
My favorite was, you're killing me. You're killing me.
The one with the prolonged, with the mouth open, and you got the spirit knocked out of you. And your mouth was open, but there was no sound coming from it for about maybe 30 seconds. You were in, and then it would follow out.
I cannot believe a reminiscent of me getting an ass whooping from my mother. All right, that's a new one here for the Marshall Mays. We literally just spent the last couple of minutes talking about how I used to get beat. Well, actually, I got to change that from it was never beat. It were actually spankings.
No,
they were.
We didn't call them that.
They were whoopings.
Come on, yes.
Oh yeah, well no,
get it right.
Well,
they were whoopings.
However, with that being said, yesterday was my wedding anniversary and stuff like that. But I get home and she decides that she's going to attack her father, who had really bad heartburn. and
she put it on you.
Oh, dude, I was fighting for my life in that kitchen.
Oh,
she has not missed a step. I said, apparently, wow.
You worked her. You taught her.
Oh, yeah. Listen, it was that and Coach Chi. It was a combination of both. For those that don't know, my daughter wrestled in high school and stuff, and hadn't really missed a step because she single leg instantly, and you don't fight it
in the kitchen.
Yeah, and I'm like,
so you holding on counters,
no, yeah,
and
dude,
regaining power.
It looked like something out of John Wick.
I would have took a pop and went pop.
Oh no! She listen, bro. She was careful to make sure that anything in striking distance was away. I would have had to try to one hand the chair. Like she caught me right where the table is, the dining room table. And stuff like that, bro. Dude, and she literally, boom, single, bam, boom. And of course, I got to take it. You ain't going to fight her. You lose your leg.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, is she really trying to hurt her father? But then in my mind, I'm going, oh, shoot, she's thinking, well, he's got to save himself. So she was playing the averages.
I hope. Yeah, she's like, you better do what I expect you to do.
Or I was going to lose my leg. And listen, in her mind, if she was right here, she would say probably like, well, my job is to attack you the best way I know how. Your job is to save yourself. If I got you in that arm bar and you know the only way out is to roll forward and you don't, well, you broke your own arm.
Shame on you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, I got you in that power half, and you don't just start to go over. Well, whatever happens from there, you brought that on yourself.
Oh man.
But yeah, I ended up submitting her out on the ground though. I was,
Well, what a gift, an anniversary gift.
And of course, my better half I could hear her chuckling. She made it a point to shut the door though, so that Tony didn't come out and try to get in the middle of it.
You know what? That would have been amazing if your wife did that to you.
Listen, I would be a blessed man at that part. It's that part
I wait
right
for
there.
That for myself. I would love for a woman to
relish
submit me
just
and
that.
make me tap.
Yeah, listen. It's the only one of my students that's kind of living close to that dream right now is Aaron. His wife trains.
Yeah.
And stuff. And I said, man, she gets any good. She gets really good at this. I can only imagine an argument at home. I tell you what, you beat me in Ronduri, we'll we'll not go to my mom's this weekend. You know, one of those kind of things. Like,
Once again, the new gods.
yeah, we'll leave it on that. All right. So yeah, well, the last little bit of us just palavering. So this episode's really just us catching up. It's been a while. We haven't really gotten together. I mean, we've done other things. We've got all these other projects in the works, and just back from traveling. We do have Chicago coming up. Any announcements? Anything else?
I just got one announcement. Well, two actually. First, I would love to give a huge congrats to Siragu, Dr. Odette Russell for the cover of Deadly Arts Survival magazine.
Yeah, she's having a big year.
Yeah. So I heard it sold big.
Yeah, she's closing out a big year.
Yeah. So, I have to give a huge shout out for that. And also connecting that with Sijo Abdul Mutakabir for Swamway.
Yes.
All right. Swam Nation, they're doing big things.
They're like the power couple, man.
Yeah.
You know that, right? I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's this, Swam.
Yeah.
Getting it done.
They're really getting it done, So those are the only two shout outs I had to give.
We have one more shout out. I thought you were going to bring it up, but I don't know Chelsea's last name.
Oh. Well, I wouldn't want to mention that last name.
Well, all I'm going to say is that congratulations, Chelsea. She's the newest member, the Marshall Mays. She's part of the group.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, you will see her now, or maybe even hear her from time to time on the podcast.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, we're really excited. For those that don't know, when you watch any video that's with Barak Yalad Shidoshi, the female student that's with him getting beat up or beating on him, that's Chelsea. And so that was a nice addition to the Modern Combatives Marshall Mays family. We're very happy to have her. She'll be popping in and out. It just really means that I can be behind the camera a lot more and stuff like that. Where
She's happy to be here. She's elated.
Yeah, well, I just it's like it allows me to really explore it. I told you I was bit by the bug, and I really want to get better at the behind the scenes kind of thing. And stuff.
Yeah. We definitely got to plan up and put some work into that because, like I said, even for Route to the Truth, to get better footage, better audio, all that. But just working what we got and just keeping our brand happening and alive.
Exactly. So with that being said, I'm with my partner in crime, Barak Yalad Shidoshi.
And I'm with my brother here, Israel Lopez Sensei.
And you've been listening to
The Marshall Mays.
Hmm?